It's 22 minutes past the hour in Ukraine. The joint marathon continues on Channel 1+1. I'm Solomia Witwicka, TSN. The Pentagon is not opposed to providing Ukraine with missiles, Tomahawk. However, the final political decision remains in the hands of President Donald Trump. This was reported by the American channel CNN, citing 3 American and European officials. The Defense Department has reportedly given the green light to transfer this weapon to Kyiv. They explained to the White House that this will not have a negative impact on U.S. stockpiles, and they made this assessment right before the meeting between Trump and Zelensky in Washington. However, at that time, after speaking with Putin, the U.S. leader did not dare to take this step. Nevertheless, for now, CNN writes, the American president has not abandoned this idea completely. The U.S. administration has already prepared plans for their rapid delivery to Ukraine should Trump give the appropriate order. However, there are several issues that will need to be resolved before the Tomahawks can be supplied. Specifically, how will Ukraine learn to use and deploy these missiles, since they are usually launched from ships or submarines? For Ukraine, this option is unlikely. There is also the possibility of launching them from land using separate launchers. The U.S. has such launchers, but it is unknown whether they will agree to provide them together with the Tomahawks. 15 people were injured in Sumy over the past day. 11 of them, including 4 children, were injured at night during a massive drone attack. At 10:30 in the evening, the enemy launched them in a dense swarm. The explosion sounded non-stop. TSN correspondent Oksana Solodovnik will tell you more about the aftermath.
The ground is covered with shards of glass. Curtains flutter in the wind in the shattered window frames. On the 9th floor, the apartments are blackened and charred. That is where the Russian Shahed struck. At night, under the threat of repeated strikes, rescuers inspect apartment after apartment amid dust and smoke. They lead frightened residents with children outside. Paramedics examine the injured on site. Among the wounded are 3 adults and 2 girls, 13 and 14 years old.
At 11:30, I was sleeping. I jumped up, thought half the building had collapsed. It was terrifying, and it was burning like that. Everything was blown through on the side where the explosion happened. 2 window frames, the bedroom, the living room across from it, and the next room nearby. Rooms. More.
Another drone hit a 2-story residential building. There, 2 women and 2 boys, aged 7 and 15, were injured.
1 explosion, a second explosion, a third explosion, and then I hear something flying, diving down, either nearby or right on top of us. And at that moment, there was a bang, and glass started falling down.
Russian drones attacked Sumy already the day before, during the day. First, the enemy struck a gas station. An employee and 3 city residents were injured. And late in the evening, 10 Shaheds flew toward the city.
A massive attack by Shahed-type unmanned aerial vehicles. These were different locations in the city. Damage to infrastructure facilities, damage to an apartment building, about 300 balcony railings and around 200 windows in total. This was at various locations as well. A children's educational institution, about 56 windows and the doors were blown out. We had 24 people who spent the night directly at the headquarters.
72 apartments were left without gas and water. Another 180 apartments were left without electricity. Specialists hope to restore everything as soon as possible. To patch up the damaged roofs and cover the windows. Gritting their teeth, the residents of the damaged buildings are cleaning their homes of debris. I can
say that they are gone after the Russian warship. And may they feel it just as we feel it. You won't say anything to them anyway.
The night was also difficult for the Sumy railway workers. The moment of the strike on the station was captured by the body cameras of volunteers from the Red Cross Rapid Response Unit.
Get down now!
For more than 5 hours, emergency workers battled a massive fire on the railway. That's where most of the drones struck. The station building is shattered and burned out. The passenger depot is almost completely destroyed. Carriages are wrecked, and cars in the parking lot are burned. The workers were unharmed because they managed to get to the shelters in time, but 2 city residents were injured. Emergency workers are still extinguishing smoldering spots that flare up from time to time, while the railway is doing everything possible to dispatch trains without delays. In the morning, the Sumy-Kiev train departed on schedule, although it was necessary to replace the damaged carriages to do so.
Russia continues its nuclear blackmail. Yesterday, the enemy struck facilities that ensure the operation of our nuclear energy sector. Because of this, Ukraine has been forced to limit electricity production at its nuclear power plants. Today, the IAEA also confirmed that Russia's strikes are undermining nuclear safety in Europe. The report states that yesterday's Russian attacks led to a reduction in capacity at the Rivne, South Ukraine and Khmelnytsky nuclear power plants, and accordingly to an increase in power outage schedules for regular consumers. Against the backdrop of these actions by the aggressor, Ukraine is calling on its international partners to increase pressure on Russia so that the enemy cannot use energy as a tool to blackmail the entire world. This was reported by Ukraine's Minister of Energy, Svetlana Hrinchuk, who is currently attending the J7 Energy Ministers Summit in Canada. She shared with TSN the results of this meeting for Ukraine.
What assistance tools can they provide, especially for preparing for and safely getting through this winter? And this concerns additional gas resources, as well as extra equipment that we need for repairs, which is necessary to provide electricity and heat to consumers, even when the energy infrastructure is suffering severely from shelling, which we are experiencing in the frontline regions, especially Chernihiv and Sumy. Today it was Canada. An expedited allocation of an additional $10 million for the purchase of equipment that we need right now for repairs from the same $70 million aid package that Canada had previously announced.
Wheels for a pickup or death. Autumn Fair, an Oktoberfest with elements of Halloween. Today, my colleagues and I held it right on the 1+1 porch. Our colleague Maxim Mazalov asked us for help. 3.5 years ago, he traded his director's console and office job for a uniform and a rifle. We would really like you to hear Max's story. And if you wish, you can contribute to his unit's fundraiser using the QR code you see on your screens.
Today on the porch, it was scary and delicious.
This is a dish that all Cossacks eat. These are pickles and buckwheat honey.
TSN correspondent Dmytro Furdak didn't give wings, and the executive producer from Breakfast 1+, Marina Kirienko, was grilling sausages.
Honestly, there were a lot, but I didn't actually count.
Maria Vasilieva treated everyone to an incredible caramel cake, and Natalia Nahorna was pouring mulled wine.
The royal ones, you got all the tastiest things in this mulled wine.
And Argentinian michelada.
Beer with tomato juice, a cocktail. A beer cocktail, basically.
Such fairs at Pluses have already become a tradition. We regularly cook to treat each other and to raise money for the armed forces of Ukraine. But this particular fundraiser is special for us. You probably remember these shots. This clip was made by our director Maxim Mazalov at the very beginning of the Revolution of Dignity.
There is absolutely no need. We don't need to wait for anything at this time.
After the shootings on the Maidan and the appearance of the Heavenly Hundred, Max made the following clip. Here's this one, with a lullaby sung by Nina Matvienko.
Oh yes, oh absolutely yes, oh.
In 20 years on television, he edited hundreds of war reports, documentaries, and music videos. And after the full-scale invasion, he couldn't stay on the sidelines. He took up arms himself. He traded our cozy office for a life like this.
Saw, stack, and everything will be just fine.
He defended Kyiv, later fought in Donetsk region, and now he's a defender of Zaporizhzhia. The fighters of his unit, the 5th Battalion of the Territorial Defense Zoloty Vorota, smash enemy tanks and destroy infantry with drones. When Max asked for help, we couldn't say no to him. His fighters need 11 sets, tires for pickup trucks. At first, Natalia Nahorna and I were raising money through our own social media.
A very, very good evening. We promised you a fundraiser for tires.
Later, we realized the amount was too large and the two of us couldn't handle it alone.
An empty vessel.
Basically 30 to 40 minutes and that's it.
We all understand this fundraiser. It's a small thing compared to what Max and his comrades are doing for all of us. And we really hope that one day, in the credits of our stories, we'll once again be able to read the names of our colleagues who are now defending the country.
May these wheels bring peace to Ukraine, bring victory to Ukraine, and be sure to bring all of you home alive and healthy. We love you.
Thank you so much, Max. Max.
Nelly Kowalska, Georgi Voronov, TSN 1+, Marathon United News.
And now a pause on TSN, and I hand over the floor to my colleagues, Maxim Sukenko and Irina Prokofieva. They continue the Marathon United News, and the updated TSN broadcast will be at 11 o'clock p.m. So see you then. Everything will definitely be all right. Ukraine,